Anxiety is not a choice. Anybody read The Road Less Traveled? Remember that book? What was the first line in the book? Life is difficult. And the second sentence said something along the lines of, and once you figure that out, it becomes less difficult. Well, there are a lot of people who never have really gotten it, that anxiety is, number one, anxiety is. That's pretty profound, huh? Now, why is it? Anxiety is, and this is why it's a reality, and this is why you'll get less anxious once you understand that. Anxiety is because I am little. Period. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? I want to give you, as we're talking about this series, we're talking about the spiritual nature of emotional problems. The spiritual nature of emotional problems, of which anxiety can become a significant emotional problem. It can sort of render somebody, unable to love, unable to work, unable to grow, etc., etc. To understand the spiritual nature of emotional problems, you've got to go back to the beginning. And it said, in the beginning there was God, and then God created. And then in this creation, where He created things, there probably wasn't a lot of anxiety before something called the fall. And then in the fall, we see anxiety come about as a product of separation from God. Okay? What happened was, remember, we were hanging out in the garden and we were connected with God and connected with each other, and then we fell, and you see the first sign of anxiety. What does it say? Adam and Eve hid. Why? Yeah, they were ashamed. And they were, whenever we're ashamed, we're afraid. And then when God comes and says, why did you hide? Remember what Adam's answer was? We were naked and we were afraid, and so, we hid ourselves. So I want you to begin to, just in the beginning of this, to remember, when we're talking about the spiritual nature of these problems, part of what we're talking about is not moral, but existence. And we're talking about, when you're talking about God's creation, whether we like it or not, we're talking about spiritual matters. And the first part of anxiety is to recognize that basically, if you live in a world past Genesis 3, anxiety is a fact of life because we are the creature and not the creator. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to get, and I want you to orient yourself to this idea in the beginning, is that anxiety has something to do with my feeling like something is bigger than I am.